This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So thank you. So this is a special meeting that was called for the purpose of going over the grant contract between the town and the state of New York Protection Fund under the local waterfront revitalization program to prepare the West Branch sediment study and restoration. And there's a contract number according to that. And then there's a memorandum of agreement between the town and the Au Freshwater Center to oversee. Au Freshwater Center agrees to oversee the project and any additional funds required for it. And the other thing we would do is we would have a resolution from the board authorizing the supervisor to sign these contracts to act as the Minority and Women Business MWBE liaison, which is a requirement under the New York State grants, and to have the supervisor sign anything else that's needed to get this thing moving. So this is the contract here. I'll go over a few. This is the grant amount is okay. So the total grant award is $320,643. The total project amount is $427,524. The state is requiring that the local match amount be $106,881. And that is the purpose of the memorandum of agreement. Au Freshwater Center has typically done this in Jay and Keene. They've done these sorts of studies and grants. They need the municipality to be sort of the entity that applies for the grant. Then they raise the extra money to make the local match amount. And so that's what the memorandum of agreement will be dealing with. So the purpose of the sedimentation study, if you don't mind me reading a little bit more. Project description. The town of Wilmington, an association in partnership with the Au Freshwater Center, will advance the Au River Watershed Management Plan by creating an actionable plan for building flood resilience in the West Branch of the Au River. This project will assess restoration potential, identify causes of river sedimentation and dysfunction, and outline projects to reduce bank erosion and restore river and fish integrity and protect communities and infrastructure in the face of the changing climate. A critical assessment and planning project will be completed on the West Branch of North Elba and Wilmington that will provide a roadmap for building flood and climate-resistant natural infrastructure on the West Branch communities from the headwaters to the hamlet of Au Forks. Using the comprehensive assessment and planning model developed for the town of Jay, with the funds from the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, the Au Freshwater Center, it's written in the old name, will assess the instability and dysfunction of the West Branch, pinpoint their causes, and lay out specific project that once implemented will restore flood and climate resilience in communities. I'll read further. Why not? Outputs include summary report data, new LIDR, DAR, I don't know what that means, and conceptual plans for priority projects. Outcomes include flood resilience, reduced emergency costs and damage to infrastructure in storm events, a healthy fishery, and benefits to tourism and the local and regional economy. The town of Wilmington, in partnership with North Elba, Jay Keene, are working with the Au River Association, now Au Freshwater Center, to build climate resilience for communities in and along the Au rivers. And they will provide the funds for the local match. That's the $106,000. So this is sort of so our sedimentation has started to increase. According to my discussions with Kelly and Gary, it's increased over time because the state and the other communities have started doing things upstream that are changing the way sediment is flowing down. And the first event was when they removed Marcy Dam. So when they removed Marcy Dam, and suddenly whatever was backed up there tends to get suspended, and it started floating downstream. And then there are other sort of artificial structures along the river that people, when they used to own it long before the park and things like that, would put in their own little concrete dams and things. So as they're going down from North Alba towards us, they're finding these things and they're removing them. And so whatever sedimentation was trapped and stopped by those structures, they're being removed at the same time. So now they're heading into Wilmington. And so the feeling last year, the town helped them write the grant. The state awarded the grant, and then this contract showed up into the supervisor's office in March. And so we've been working with them, and now the state would like us to sign and get moved forward. So what the resolution would be was I would, on behalf of the town as the supervisor, fill out this contract the way they would like it filled out. And Aussable River Association is still helping out with all of this stuff. And then this is an agreement that they have used with the other towns, including Jay and Keene, whereby they've agreed that they will oversee the completion of the project, and they will do the consulting and other contractual services. They're the project manager. And also they will raise the 25% match, which is the $106,881. And we are basically the party of the second part in name only, except for at the end of the day, they may ask us to do things and pay bills or whatever, but I think the confidence is very high that we this is part of a larger plan that Aussable Freshwater Center has. They've been working through Jay, they've worked through Keene. They're finding North Elba needs a little encouragement to help out a little more. But apart from that, though, this is just they're marching down the stream. So have I missed anything, or are there any questions, anything I should answer? Go ahead.
Is it a commitment to complete any recommendations that they come up with? Is this a study?
This is
to
the study.
present a plan?
Yes.
And there's not necessarily a component that says, and this is what the town of Wilmington agrees to do about it,
No,
whatever it is.
Yeah, we've not agreed to take any kind of action.
I think Darren said that, I could be wrong, but I think Darren said this will allow us to have some standing if we needed to apply for something. Like if we wanted to move forward with any of the recommendations, this would allow us to have some documentation, so it would help us possibly get further grants in the future.
We may not
It
like
gives
what
us
they
a ground to
say,
stand
so
on
that's
going
my
forward.
Yes, no, I know they have, the future of the dam and, the opinion about whether people like dams or not. But that doesn't have anything to do, with what we're doing now. I say that this is all part, in the notice, right? It's part of the Environmental Protection Fund local waterfront revitalization plan. So when you were looking at the plan that they adopted, it's all part of pretty much Randy's comprehensive idea. Randy was the person who started the waterfront revitalization stuff. He obtained grant monies to improve the beach, to improve the dam, and things like that. This is still sort of this is like a lingering part of that overall project idea that was started many years ago.
And I think they did have suggestions in that. I mean, there were definitely like moving forward, we should do this, moving forward, you know, there were definitely components towards the end of that study, or the plan, the LRWP.
Yeah.
It definitely had parts that I think that this study might piggyback off of. So I think it would be beneficial for, part of that groundwork might have been done, probably a lot less money back then, but.
Yeah, so he had proposals for dredging done. We could take the stuff out, we dry it on the side, we could do this, we could do that. And he had various options in proposals and estimates given. The numbers I'm sure today are way more than they were in 2008. But I've looked them over, and even though they're trying to follow a plan, and it fits and starts. The state of New York, they got the money. Who has the expertise locally to do this? Fortunately, these people, this is what their expertise is, and they're committed to the larger project. They're also, the Ausable Freshwater Center is helping us with getting grant money from Vermont Fish and Game to help us replace the culvert on John Bliss Road. And that went from $100,000 to like a $300,000 kind of project. So they're helping us with that. So it's a cooperative relationship, and it just seems to me that
We're kind of in the middle of the river.
yeah. Well, but listen, I mean,
We are.
you still, you could dig in now. You could say, I ain't signing that, and it's just. All the rest of them are signing it, and they're all pretty much moving forward. I mean, hell, I don't know what they did in Upper J to allow the excavator to go in there and start digging around near the land of make believe. But in any case, eventually, we may get into that kind of scenario, and I think that's what the town's hoping for, is to move us along, because the ultimate right now, identifiable task is to help dredge Lake Everest. It's getting, the weeds are moving down towards the bridge now. And you're looking at it thinking, okay, what can we do? And it's, we need the state's help. This is the way the state is set up, the way they want to help. They're not going to just show up here and say, oh, it's the DEC's river, we're going to take over and we're paying for everything. So anyway, the purpose of this is to answer any questions about that. Do you have any questions about the larger contract, Laura?
No.
How about you, Tina?
No.
Okay, so the memorandum of agreement, this agreement here is between the town and Ausable River Association, and I read the first part of it. That is, therefore agree that they will oversee the completion. They're doing all the work. The supervisor has to be, or I find some other town person wants to be the MWBE liaison, but why not? Here I am, so I'm the person attached with that. And so they're going to be responsible for the compilation of a payment request for final review and signature. They'll do all the paperwork. They'll keep track of all the deadlines, all the work being done. There's third-party contractors who are, some biologists who they've hired to show up to do something specific. They're responsible for all that. The money, I think, probably runs through the town account, but they'll have to voucher that properly, and they'll have to go through, get a request for payment, and we'll have to voucher that right. So that's about us for this. Also agreed the town of Wilmington will be responsible for retaining copies of payment requests for final, of course we do, and reviewing signatures in the New York State and subsequent disbursements. So we're sort of the bank, or let's see, we're the intermediary bank. We get the money from the state and we'll be paying out the bills. And submit reimbursement paperwork for signature on the completion of key tasks and work products or at a minimum quarterly. Upon signature, we'll file reimbursement paperwork with the DOS. DOS will reimburse the town of Wilmington. The town of Wilmington will, within 48 hours from receipt of the funds from the Department of State, pay the Ausable Freshwater Center. So yeah, so they're telling us what they, how we're going to manage the payment of funds. And so that's the agreement that they provided us.
Is there any component of, or what do you know about them reporting back to you?
Oh, the Osage River Association? I don't have any experience with them reporting back to me. I imagine if I see things going on or somebody tells me that they're working on something and I haven't heard a report, I'll the guy person I worked with is named Gary, and he's in touch with me regularly enough. And so I'll ask him, I said, what are we doing now? In my experience with, contractors and payments and things like that, it's always when the bill gets submitted, then you'll have plenty of attention from the people wanting their money. And then, they'll have to give some sort of progress report for the bill. Because the Department of State will say that, okay, where have you reached before we can apply for funds? Have you reached this benchmark? Are we satisfied that you completed this task? And we have a long list of tasks in here and checklists and things, for which I'm happy the town doesn't have that much
I would imagine.
responsibility for. But that's kind of the way I imagine this is going to go. Tina.
They seem to be very good to work with.
Oh, she's from Keene. Let's talk to her.
They're very good to work with. They're very professional. They're very good to work with. The money does come through your account to go back to them.
What the hell?
It's not
I'm just guessing.
So-
Tina, I should let you.
So
Said you're-
I've never had any problems with them. They're very good.
The Osable Fresh Water Center.
Everybody's good.
Okay, good. So-
That I talked with.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion to, what's the resolution going to be? Authorize the supervisor to
Sign on behalf.
execute on behalf of the town and designate the supervisor as the NWBE liaison.
I will make the motion.
And if-
Second.
Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call while we're here. Let's see. Laura,
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Faber, yes. So the motion carries, and I appreciate very much. We have one other little thing to talk about. I'm going to hand this to Laura first. She can look it over. So this is the request we got from Samuels 2:30 this afternoon. And not to put that on the spotlight, but John is committed to getting it out in the mail because that's a November 15th deadline.
Okay.
So this is a request for a limited and special sort of beer and wine permit. So when they're doing their previews and they're offering food upstairs, they can serve beer and wine. So it's the New York State Liquor Authority for. It's kind of like it.
One last year.
What's that?
They had the permit last year.
This
It's
is not
this
new.
year.
It's timely.
Yeah, the state wants them to have these tables this year.
And where's that at?
Norfolk. You know, when they do the previews.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's for that. It's for 5 weeks.
Oh, okay, yep. We have to pass a resolution if they can have it.
And she said it's only one night that they run it each weekend.
I just borrowed the language from her email. It's like,
So the paper with the stamp is what you submit to them, and then they have that for the
They
state.
said I can email it to them
Okay.
because they're emailing it to the state.
Okay.
So it won't matter.
Okay.
But I probably will make a copy of it and send a paper copy for them too. Just because.
all right, so a resolution approving no objection to their request and letting me sign this paper and giving it to Don to give it to them.
Yes. Thank you.
One second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. I'll sign it now. All right, public comment. We don't have any further business. We have a regular meeting on Tuesday. It'll be busy. We'll be dealing, I think, with final budget discussion, and there'll be other matters on the agenda. Colin Laura has been invited to give a talk as the guest from the Visitors Bureau to go over the calendar, the things that they've been working and and things like that. That's a regular meeting. Okay, so motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.